the end of 2007 and the beginning of 2008, the crew kept busy, but then their lives came to a screeching halt when tragedy struck the Wilson family.
Kerry was my son, my firstborn son.
Well, he was son number one, and it was exciting just because he was number one son.
He was just, he meant so much to me, being my first, and he was just a lovely person, and he meant more than I can even say. That question surprised me.
I love Uncle Kerry. He was so nice. It seemed like he never did anything wrong.
When Uncle Kerry passed, I was very devastated, very heartbroken, because he was an important member of the family. And I heard about it when Mama Jean had came home, and she was very upset that she told me.
And I remember when Jeffrey called me one night, and he was like, Uncle Kerry died. Like, I was so sad. I just had to get off the phone with him. I was like, cried. I told everybody. Everybody was like, he's really sad. I mean, because he was such a nice guy. I didn't want to see him go.
I was at home, and I was on the phone with Mike, and my friend Nisha was there, and she had my phone, and she turned around and said, Lindsay, IDY is calling you. And I was like, that's my cousin Eddie, which is Jeffrey. And she was like, oh, okay. So I answered the phone, and he told me the news, and I was just really upset and devastated. And I just went in my mother's room, and I just started crying. Nisha and Mike was just trying to figure out what was wrong with me. It was just really touching and sad.
I was sad because he was cool.
It was terrible because, like, I got so close to Uncle Kerry for him to pass away. And it was like, it was a big change because he's usually always there for like the family reunions and for like all the events, like the big events.
I mean, first it was like a shock. Like, I'm like, no he's not. Like, I don't really feel nothing. Like, then it's like, you know, never see him anymore, so.
It was a weird thing. I called Jeffrey. I had been out. David and I were out on a Friday night, and I called home I forgot if Jeffrey needed anything, and he told me that Aunt O'Neill had tried to call me, and he said it was urgent, called her back, and so I was driving at the time, and I just pulled over at Home Depot and stopped and called Aunt O'Neill, and I had to almost pry it out of her, and she finally told me that she had some bad news, and I thought something had happened to Aunt Eva, and I just started shaking, and she finally told me, no, it's not Eva. She so told me, and my knees were knocking, and I don't know how I managed to drive home, but I did. And no, while I was sitting there, she gave me the officer's name and number, and I called him back, and he told me yes, it was true, and he gave me more details of it. And so David and I sat there in the parking lot, and we just holding each other, and we came on home, and Aunt Dottie came over. She knew where I was, but I had turned my telephone off because we were at an auction. And anyway, let's say
Still, he was cool, like, when he was here, and I felt sad when he was gone, because when he was here, he was a pretty cool dude. He was like, told me that he drew a little bit too back in the time, showed me some stuff, like his little art stuff from way back when, and yeah, I mean, it's messed up.
And he grew up with his brothers, and he loved them, and he played a big part in raising them. They would listen to him, and they got along real good, and we were so blessed with all of them.
how he loved his brothers, how he took care of them, how he loved school, how he showed his respect for me and protecting me.
And the last memory I had of him was when Mama Jean and him, where he was downstairs and they were watching a TV show or a movie and they wouldn't give up the TV, and I thought that was funny.
I have to say the time when, I don't know, so many. It was kind of funny how all those times that me and Jeffrey would just get our hair braided.
He would come in and rub our hair and be like, "This is nice," and we'd be like, "Thank you."
And Uncle Kerry would pat our heads and mess our hair up, kinda. It made me upset, but it was kind of funny in a way. So
I remember Jeffrey and Lynn told me about how Uncle Kerry walked to Delaware, and I just found that so funny.
It's like so much stuff happened with him. Like when we told jokes, like remembrance of him. It's like funny, but it's like, oh, okay, because you know he's not here.
Just so many fond memories. I can't even put them all together. His first day of school, all these things I remember so well, and how he just put everybody first, and then he was always sucking. He thought about good things, and he loved his music, and how he would, anybody wanted a tape or he had anything, he was willing to share it with you, take your music for you, and then he would come to you and tell you, "I got this tape for you." So he had a tape for me, and he brought it to Virginia Beach, Smokey Robinson's Best, and I played it and put it in the DVD player there in Virginia Beach. This was in '07, and he brought that tape up, and I left it, of course, in Virginia Beach, but he brought it to me when he came up Thanksgiving. He brought me another copy of it. And I miss him so much.
Coming up.
But that's what they want to do. Be happily married. Hey.
And later.
We know why they did it. We know who it really was.